The 12th chapter of Genesis opens with a command. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." And the person who receives this command is 75 years old, not young, not at the beginning. Abram, he will not become Abraham until later, has already lived the majority of human life. He has a wife, Sarai. He has a nephew, Lot. He has accumulated possessions, servants, substance. He is, in the world of his time, an established man. And God says, "Leave everything, go to a land I will show you." Not go to this specific place, I will show you. The destination is not specified. The direction of travel is the instruction. Today we read the call of Abraham with Erik Erikson, who understood better than almost any other psychologist of the 20th century that the human life does not end at 40 or at 50 or at any of the points at which our culture tends to assume that the interest in work of becoming a self is over. Erikson's 8 stages of the human life cycle map the psychological tasks of development from infancy to old age. We have discussed several of them in this series. The identity crisis of adolescence, which is stage 5. The intimacy of young adulthood, stage 6, which featured in our episode on Jonathan and David. The ego integrity of late life, stage 8, in our episode on Moses' death. The stage that applies most directly to Abraham's situation at 75 is stage 7, generativity versus stagnation. Erikson placed this stage in middle and mature adulthood. The crisis it names is this: can the person who has built a life, who has an identity, relationships, accumulated achievements, now turn their energy outwards towards something beyond themselves? Can they invest in the next generation, in the community, in a project that will outlast them? Or do they contract into stagnation, into the self-preoccupied, increasingly rigid maintenance of what has already been built? Generativity, in Erikson's framework, is not primarily about having children, though it often involves them. It is about the orientation of the self toward the future, toward what will continue after the individual is gone. It is the willingness to give what one has to something larger than oneself. The promise that comes with the command is extraordinary. I will make you into a great nation and I will bless you. I will make your name great and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you. This is not a promise directed at Abraham's personal flourishing. It is directed at what his life will become the vehicle for. The blessing is through him, not to him. He is to be the conduit of something that will extend far beyond anything he can see or measure. Erikson would find in this the purest possible statement of the generative calling. The person who becomes, at 75, the instrument through which something entirely new enters the world. Not for his own benefit. Abraham will not see the fulfillment of the promise. He will not live to see a great nation. He will not see all peoples blessed. What he will see is the beginning, a journey, a new land, a son born in old age, and a covenant. He goes. That's the crucial thing. He is told to go to a land that will be shown to him, and he goes towards the showing rather than waiting for the specification. He departs, as the text says, as the Lord has told him. Erikson was interested throughout his career in what he called the life review, the process by which the person in the latter stages of life looks back on what they have lived and asks, was it worth it? Was it coherent? Does it add up to something? This is the work of his 8th stage, ego integrity versus despair. The person who can affirm the life they lived, even with its failures and losses, achieves integrity. The person who cannot achieves despair. But what is less often discussed in Erikson's framework is the role of new beginnings in the later stages. The generative person, The person who has successfully navigated stage 7 is not primarily looking backwards, they are oriented forwards. They are asking not only what was my life, but what can my life still give? What can still be begun? Abraham at 75 is the paradigmatic figure of this orientation. He is at an age when most people in the ancient world would expect to be sitting still, and he is told to go, and he goes. Erikson noted that genuine generativity often involves a kind of second naivety, the willingness to begin again, to not know again, to be a stranger in a new territory at a point in life when everything in the social environment suggests that the territory should be familiar and settled. Abraham going to Canaan is going to a land he has never been, among people he does not know, following a promise he cannot verify. He has the experience and the established identity of a mature man, and he goes towards the unknown as if he were young. There is a phrase in the Hebrew that carries a meaning the English translation does not fully convey. Lech Lecha, usually translated as go or go forth, is grammatically reflexive. It could be rendered as go to yourself, or go for yourself, or go toward yourself. The self that Abraham will become is in front of him, not behind him. The journey is toward who he is going to be, not a departure from who he already is. This is one of the most beautiful details in the calling of Abraham, and it is precisely the detail that Erikson's framework illuminates. The person who thinks their self is already complete, who believes that who they are at 75 is the final version of who they will be, cannot hear the Lech Lecha. The journey is available only to the person who understands that the self is not yet finished, that there is still something ahead that the self has not yet become. Abraham understood this, or at least he acted as if he did. He packed what he had. He took his wife and his nephew and all the possessions and people he had accumulated in Haran, and he went towards the land that would be shown to him. He didn't know where he was going. He knew who was sending him, and he went. We have encountered Abraham at several points in this series. We met him binding Isaac at Moriah, the terrible obedience, read by Freud. We met him receiving the three mysterious visitors, the archetypal encounter, read by Jung. And now we meet him at the very beginning, before any of those things had happened, in a moment when everything is a promise and nothing yet has been tested. He is 75. He goes towards himself. Lech Lecha.